Woo! What's going on? Welcome to I Got Something to Say, day 27 of the vlog. 3 more vlogs to go, so I reached 30. I'm happy. I kept with it. I stuck with it. I said I was going to do it as one vlog every day for the next 30 days to express myself, to keep people informed, to keep my sanity. I wanted to do something. I wanted to vlog. I wanted to do more YouTube, but I wanted to be informative too. I didn't want to leave the community out because I write every day. I write articles to uplift the community, to make sure the community understands that we, I mean in the gay community of course, that we are powerful people. We are beautiful people, and we shouldn't let nobody pass the politics, pass the discrimination, past all of that. We should understand that we are beautiful people that don't deserve to be downtrodden. Just like black people. Black people at one time they hated themselves, and this is not literally, but just they didn't understood that there was just a self-disgust for themselves, because it was tuned in the black people's head, drilled in since the days of slavery. And they call it as part of post-traumatic slave syndrome. And we kind of have, gay people kind of have that too. Though we've never been in slavery as gay people, but we've been beaten down, and then we've been told, hey, everything is all right, and we can't even get the rights that we deserve. So today, I was kind of pissed, but I guess that's the easiest way of putting it. Okay, before I get into that story, let's start with Dan Savage. I want to say clap for Dan Savage. That man brought it to the home team with a 1-2 knockout against Brian Brown, of director of NOM, National Organization for Marriage. If you remember a few months ago, Dan Savage, he did a he did a convention. It was the Young Journalists the Young Journalists Lassless Convention. It was in Seattle. You had a group of a couple thousand audience members, a few thousand or whatever, and if I'm not mistaken, and I believe some people in the audience, they were young people who left because he said the Bible was bullshit. Now, even me, I even wrote that it's not that I didn't agree with what Dan Savage was saying. I disagreed with how he delivered it, because it was young people. It was people that are not ready for the real world. Dan Savage is obviously real. No one accused Dan Savage of not being real. I just accused Dan Savage of being real to a group of teenagers that really had nothing. They really ain't been in the fight yet. So they really haven't done anything to us as a community, or to him personally, whatever. So that's what I wrote about. And of course, someone else caught wind to it, who is Brian Brown of NOM. And he basically told Dan Savage, why don't you pick on somebody on your own side? I'll debate you anytime, anywhere, any place. And Dan Savage agreed. And yesterday, the fight went down, baby. It was a debate between Brian Brown of NOM and our own Dan Savage. And Dan Savage, baby, took it. Because Dan Savage came in with a 1-2 punch. Oh, yeah, and by the way, the moderator was Mark Oppenheimer, if I'm saying that right. Famous journalist, New York Times, if I'm not mistaken. And I just want to say that he gave each person 15 minutes to speak, and then they did 5-minute rebuttals, and then they kind of went back and forth from there. But Dan Savage went hard in that bitch. He did, man. He hit him with a 1-2 punch, going right, using his own, because Dan Savage has a very Catholic background. He went into the Bible and started doing conflicting statements, saying that if slavery in the Bible was wrong, and we found that was wrong, and understood that was wrong, if war and all this stuff in the Bible, which he is obviously right, all these things that teach you why and should you to destroy the planet is wrong, then why can't homosexuality be wrong? That's his main thing. That was his main thing. And then, of course, he went and talked about more studies, like the Regner study that would seem to be bloated, and how he's in trouble. Mark Regulus is in trouble now because he did that study, and where It tried to test the kids, like the results of the kids that have been through had homosexual parents, gay parents, and things like that. There, so says that our kids in families of gay parents turned to be just basically the shit of the crop, you know, and that basically we have more problems than kids raised by heterosexual parents. There's going to be more in the poverty rate. There's going to be more issues, more problems, and you know, Dan Savage just brought that on up. And of course, now Brian Brown says basically, you know what? Number one, NOM did not help fund that. Though I read somewhere that NOM helped fund that. I thought I also had the proof that NOM helped fund the Rigorous project. And Dan Savage has written about it. I have written about it that NOM has helped fund the Rigorous study. But Brian Brown said no, NOM did not help in that. So he basically said that it was a very complicated study, and that most of the other studies that Dan Savage brought up were snowball studies, bullshit studies, basically. And then he went in, then he got to dance around a little bit, talking about that it's not hateful, or you should be labeled a hate group just because you have a different opinion than gay people. So just because NOM and FRC and all these other corporation groups have a different opinion, thinking that gay marriage is wrong, then it should be labeled a hate group or an extremist group. And then Dan Savage gave it that 1-2 punch, saying it's not like groups like the FRC. They're not a hate group because they have a different opinion than gay people. They're a hate group because they bring out information trying to link gay men to pedophilia, trying to say that gay men only want to have sex with young boys, which there went straight documentation on him on that one, and he just kind of stumbled, and then, of course, my boy Brian Brown just stumbled all over himself on that one. So, it was funny. It was cool. It went back and forth. You know, it was like Brian Brown trying to play the victim. Oh, you know, you shouldn't label groups. It's like before the FRC shooting happened, because the FRC was labeled a hate group, and if we're going to have peace, nobody should be labeled hateful or hate group. Not violence on anybody's part is wrong, and all this other bullshit. It was wild. It was wild. He just tried to play the sympathy card and sympathy vote. Oh, I'm not a hate. I don't hate people. I'm not racist or prejudiced or nothing. I just don't like. You know, it was crazy bullshit. But it was good. It was good. I'll put my article down there so you can get to the video. It was about an hour long. I put it in the page. It was great. Oh my God. So Dan Savage won that one. I liked it. Okay. So let's get on to the next article which I wrote about Tony Akin. And Tony Akin, it was actually Michelangelo Signoretti that opened my eyes to this because the Huffington Post gave voices. You know, he's the editor for that. Thank you, Mr. Signorelli, for telling the gay people. In 2006, Tony Akin made this distinction that any civilization that condones gay marriage is doomed, has been doomed. No civilization that has condoned gay marriage or accepted gay marriage has ever survived. Basically, that's his whole thing. And I'm thinking, you know what? Let me go. I'm gonna pull up Dan Savage. I'm gonna go straight documentation on his ass. Just like they went straight documentation on that little fuck-ass statement that he did, talking about rape. They just destroyed his ass with straight documentation. I decided to put his ass in checkmate mode and straight documentation. And my documentation dealt with the fact that, you know, you're trying to use the evolutionary claim that homosexuality breaks the chain of the theory of reproduction. There is no such thing as the law of reproduction. The theory of reproduction, and it supposedly breaks that natural order, and it retards evolution, And so, of course, no group or no people or no race can evolve without reproduction to push evolution along over generations of time, of course. Now, my thing on it is, and that was his claim, and my thing of it is that you really gonna go there on us? Seriously, Mr. Todd Akin? Seriously? Okay, if we're gonna do that, let's take it back to the original ideas and concepts of African people, because I went straight out of the station to prove, number one, that since all life started in Africa, and there's scientific proof. Check out Pinnacle Point. Google that shit. Check out Pinnacle Point, where everything on the planet died after the Ice Age, during the Ice Age, and the only place that existed was right here in the cradle of Africa, because it was the climate, it was warm, it was desert, so everything. And it was Africans. And all people derived from Africans. Homo sapiens was Africans. Look at the BBC. There's a BBC video where it talked about the different types of species, and it was Neanderthal, and then there was Homo sapien. There was another one. There was different kinds. But all life now upright, Homo erectus. Yeah, Homo erectus, Homo sapiens. Yeah, Homo erectus, Homo sapiens, and Neanderthal. All life of this planet are Homo sapiens, which are derived from black people. But I was bringing that up because it was an original African concept, not to practice homosexuality. And that's one of the very few beginnings that you find not to practice homosexuality because of the civilization, playing the civilization card, as I call it. Don't practice homosexuality because it ruins the race. It ruins reproduction. You won't be able to reproduce for the good of the race. That card. But there's also another African concept that people don't know about, and that is not to let foreign blood or foreign cultures to mix with African cultures, because letting any other foreign people mix with the indigenous people of Africa leads to that civilization's doom. And Africans knew that. But Africans, of course, did not hold to that rule. When that rule was broken, then the slave trade was on the way. And the slave trade was introduced by Christians. The slave trade was the very first global economic system, and the Bible teaches you why slavery is good, why slavery is there. It teaches you why slavery is okay. There have been more wars started because of the Christian Crusades and almost the colonization, because bringing Christianity to the world almost wiped out the North American indigenous people of this region, of this continent. Christians. The Bible tells you homosexuality is wrong because the Bible tells them so. But the Bible tells them also that you can go ahead and stone people and not cut your hair. The Bible got a lot of conflict. There's a lot of stuff in it. But people want to use the Bible card and want to use the religion card when it comes to homosexuality, but they forget about all this other crap. They forget about all this other stuff that the Indo-European has done in the name of the God, in the name of the Bible, and almost destroyed anything that the European man touches when it comes to this Bible. So, so you're going to really play that card. You gonna really say that any Todd Akin? You gonna really say that any fucking civilization that accepts homosexuality, the marriage thing, they just doomed as a people? They're going down the drain. We've been down the drain because Christians wanna come in and just wanna touch everybody with the word of God. Their way. They can't leave things alone, so they got to rule. The way they see peace is to rule things and to conquer things. That's what the Bible teaches you. Don't you get it? That's what it's about. And I just went put them in checkmate mode. To let them know that they forgot they derived from black people. That Homo sapiens derived, all people in his life derived from black people. But even, and then everything is just a mutation over time. That's what science teaches you. And that the same people forgot where they came from, of course. They came back and enslaved the original people in the name of God. Just trying to kill the North American people off, these Christians, pilgrims, colonials, colonization, almost killed off the North American people in the name of God. Treated the Asian people that came to this country, remember that them now Chinaman's chance in the name of God. They had them on the railroad, killing them off because they had no life. In those past biblical and past laws and past days. So don't fucking come out, Todd Akin, talking about that past civilizations are doomed because you accept gay marriage. Past civilizations are doomed because the way of the Christian is to conquer. I'm going to conquer and make people conform to what I want and they want to do. And Jesus, but so help me Jesus, that's what they have in their mind. I am not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person. I do believe in God, but I don't believe God made us all to conquer each other in His name. I believe that He wants us to reconcile everything through love, and be Him be the example of that love. I'm not a religious man, but I'm a spiritual man that believes that love and peace and harmony and understanding and contentment, those have great purpose. And destruction and war, that is y'all. That's your lane. That's conservatives' lane. And I think I've said everything I want to say, and I said all that I have to say. Peace. The fuck you, Todd Akin.